Hosholoza, 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 welcome to another episode of The Dissection. Brown Envelope Mkhotsi is at it again. He did not go to the Madlanga Commission. He says he has Hoshvid 19 of Hoshvid 26. General Richard Shibiri is the next witness. He's coming on Wednesday. Paul O'Sullivan has to go back to Parliament. Let's talk about all of it. But before we jump into it, let me greet you properly. Hosholoza, Hosholoza, Hosholoza. Welcome to another episode of The Dissection, where we do examination from the skin to the bone marrow and leave it hollow, where we do it with incision, excision, and precision. We don't play around here. We do it methodologically, methodically, logically, empirically, statistically, actually, factually, ethically. We do it the right way and we don't play. As I said, Hosholoza to Kronstadt, Hosholoza to Boshabelo, Hosholoza to London, to Berlin, to New York, Manchester City, Atlanta, Maseru, Morocco, Accra, wherever you're watching from, be it Khayelitsha, Soweto, Diepsloot, wherever you're watching from, Hosholoza. Let's get into these conversations. Brown Mkhotsi. You know, Brown Envelope Mkhotsi, a very interesting character, very eager to go to some places, not so eager to go to other places. And, you know, the last part of his testimony in Parliament, he actually had to concede that, you know, he was lying when he said that King Misuzulu and General Mkhwanazi were CIA agents. Brown Envelope Mkhotsi is quite a character. To be honest, at this point, my evaluation of Brown is that he's a dishonest person. He's not truthful. However, I still think there's value to him appearing at the Madlanga Commission. And I think he understands that the Madlanga Commission is not going to let him breathe. They're not going to allow Mabaribari. They're not going to allow all of these tendencies that he sometimes leans into to avoid facing the music. So he caught the disease that's going around, Hoshoronavirus. All the implicated persons, they're catching this Hoshoronavirus. I don't know whether they had a meeting or something, and they gave each other Hoshvid 26. Because Hoshvid 26 is a strain of Hoshoronavirus. They makes you sick. Before you have to go to the Madlanga Commission, you have to call your doctor and say, please write their condition, and then don't make it clear. Just squiggle. Doctor's handwriting worse than Commissioner Madlanga's handwriting. The victims of Hoshoronavirus are multiplying. Witness F got it. Brown Mkhotsi's handler last week, he got it. Brown Envelope Mkhotsi now has the same Hoshoronavirus. He couldn't make it. And it seems that the attitude of the commission now is, we're going to take this seriously. I thought they would even call the doctor today and say the doctor has to appear, because last week, that was the impression that they're giving. The Madlanga Commission was ready to find Brown Mkhotsi in contempt. And if you're found in contempt, that could potentially lead to you facing a prison sentence. And we saw with Jacob Zuma how that ended up, where he ended up being incarcerated for walking out of a commission of inquiry. So walking out, not assisting, not participating, not being truthful, perjury, all of these things are actually serious offenses. You have to execute the oath, and you have to show up and actually be truthful and assist the commission in their fact-finding mission. So here's how it went down.
Good morning, Mr. Shaskalson.
Morning, Chair. Today's witness was going to be...
Good morning, Mr. Shaskalson.
Morning, Chair. Today's witness was going to be Mr. Mkhotsi, and although he's already testified extensively here and in Parliament, there were several important topics that we wanted to canvass with him, which haven't yet been canvassed either before here or Parliament. Unfortunately, this morning we received a message from Mr. Mkhotsi saying that he is ill, and he has undertaken to get us a medical certificate in the course of the day. It's a very unfortunate situation. I would ask that we don't take any final decisions about how to respond to it until we've had the opportunity of looking at the medical certificate that he's assured me will come through later today. And I in that regard, I should place on record that hitherto Mr. Mokgotsi has honoured every undertaking that he's made to me in relation to delivering statements, appearing, and cooperating. And we have been told that he will get a medical certificate to us as soon as he has returned from a doctor in the course of the day. I mean, he is in default, but before deciding how to respond, I'd ask that we wait for the medical certificate that has been promised. Sorry, Chair, there is another fact that I should place on record, which is when Mr. Mokgotsi previously appeared before this commission, he was legally represented, but he is no longer legally represented. He'll be appearing in person without representation when he does appear.
Thank you, Mr. Shaskalson. But for your request, our idea was to say, at present and until we have a medical certificate, Mr. Mokgotsi is in contempt. And our idea when we discussed the matter amongst the three of us was to say, because he is in contempt from where we are sitting, we are going to have the commission initiate the necessary legal processes against him. It is purely because of the request that you have made that we will not immediately have those processes initiated. We will stand the matter down until Wednesday morning at 9:30. Of course, that is not for Mr. Mokgotsi to testify because another witness is scheduled to testify on Wednesday morning. Standing it down for Wednesday morning will be for purposes of considering what we should do about the fact that he is not here today.
Thank you, Chair.
Shouldn't please advise what's happening tomorrow?
Tomorrow or Wednesday. I understand that tomorrow we were not going to sit due to an unavailability issue. So
Yes.
On Wednesday,
I think let me just put it on record that that's because one of us is not available tomorrow, so we cannot sit.
on Wednesday, General Shabiri will be testifying.
Yes. Thank you. Let's adjourn until 9:30 on Wednesday then.
Thank you, Chair.
To be honest, I don't think that Brown Mokgotsi wanted to go one more round with Advocate Shaskalson. He doesn't play. The backbreaker, the baker, the undertaker. He will... Shaskalson does not play. He's kind when it comes to this procedural stuff. I think too kind. I would love to see him push back a little bit more when people are trying to use procedural tactics to delay, to dither. And I think what he did last week was actually good. You could see that he was now fighting. He was pushing back. He wasn't allowing the whole day to be wasted. So we saw with the head of department there, the head of HR from Ekhuruleni, when she tried that stuff, and they were like, no, we need a little bit more time. Just gonna say, no. Take some time now. You only have a few pages to deal with now. And then we then found out a lot more information about everything that was happening there. So he could be stronger in terms of dealing with these charlatans when they try to buy time. But the flip side of it is he actually wants people to get into the hot seat. So I think he's nice to them in his interactions with their legal teams or whatever the case may be. But when he gets you on the seat, when you're finally at the commission, because step one, he has to deliver you to the commission. Step two, undertaker, baker, backbreaker. He will... Anyway... So I think there's value to Brown Mokgotsi continuing, even though he's dishonest. And I think that what we're seeing here, it's the same. Suleiman Karim tried another delay tactics. I think all of this is linked. People are now scared to show up, but I think he will eventually show up and he will have to answer. I'm not really interested in the answers that Brown Mkhotsi is actually going to provide, but I think that there is value in seeing what evidence and information and what answers the commission is trying to get on record. Last time, when Advocate Charles Carlson was going at Brown Mkhotsi, he actually asked him some questions about text messages that went between Vusi Matlala and Hangwani Maumela. And I thought, oh, okay, that's interesting. And I think it gave us the most important clue that we got at that stage of the game around some of the information that the commission may be privy to, which we haven't seen, but which will still perhaps show up in the final report that we'll have a chance to look at. This is how that exchange went, if you don't remember.
Who introduced you to CAT to give you assistance in this foundation application?
In 2023.
That one.
It was not a direct thing that someone is bringing CAT to come and advise. It's a matter that you know someone who says, there is this brother, is a businessman, is based where, and this person can help us.
Do you know that one of the losing bidders, in fact, the losing bidder that subsequently took the interdict on, was called Alu Construction?
Alu Construction, yes. I don't know the company. I remember the name Alu Construction. I knew it through the legal firm, Tau Matsemela, attorneys.
And do you know that Alu Construction are one of the entities in the consortium of Morgan Maumela and Kat Matlala that was awarded a lucrative contract at Tembisa Hospital?
I don't know the owner of this Alu, this Morgan Maumela. I saw him on news.
Do you accept, if I put it to you, that Alu Construction was one of the entities in the consortium of Maumela and Matlala that won the contract at Tembisa Hospital?
Yes, I saw that on the news. That's correct.
And do you know that it was the award of that contract that Babita Deokaran was investigating when she was murdered?
Yeah, I saw, yes, the whistleblower. That's correct.
Do you know if Mr. Maumela has any interest in the Medicare 24 contract that you've been investigating?
I don't know.
If I were to put it to you that the chats between Mr. Maumela and Mr. Matlala suggest very strongly that he has that interest, what would you say to that?
It's what you saw. I cannot say anything about that. I cannot say anything between their chats.
So you, in your investigations into this contract, which was apparently your tasking at Crime Intelligence, weren't able to establish who Mr. Matlala's partners in the contract were?
I've not yet reached that stage.
So it's very possible that if Brown Mkhotsi were to appear, we may get interesting information that is presented to him for his response and for entry into the record on Minister Senzo Mchunu, on Suleiman Karim, on Hangwani Maumela, on the other generals who've been implicated in this, be it Shibiri or other people. So he may very well have more text messages that they want to get through and work through that he has to then respond to. And he may know that, which is why he doesn't want to go. He may actually fully appreciate that, if I go there, I'm going to be cooked even more. I'm going to go from brown envelope Mkhotsi to black envelope Mkhotsi because they'll turn me into a briquette. I'll be charcoal by the time they won't even put me in a Tupperware. They will put me in the base of the braai so that I can be the heat, the briquette that then heats up the other people who are going to be cooked at the commission. So yeah, Brown Mkhotsi dodged. I don't think he's an honest individual. We'll see if he ever shows up, if he recovers from coronavirus and actually goes there to the commission. But I think we did get something very interesting. Richard Shibiri is coming on Wednesday. Now, General Shibiri is the component head of organized crime. He's somebody who seems to be close to General Sibiya, also close to Vusi Matlala, and he has interesting things that he has to respond to. I'm going to recap your memory. Witness B, when she was testifying on the 22nd of October last year, day 17, she said that when they had made some progress in the Katiso Molefe murder case, the murder of Amar Swart, where they got all of the information that they got, the ballistics, all of that stuff. But before they got the ballistics, she said that Colonel Mukwena called her and said, Shibiri wants to talk to you on the phone. And then Shibiri then started asking, General Shibiri started asking information about the case, the Katiso Molefe case. Witness B said, listen, I'm not comfortable to talk about this on the phone. Then on the 16th of May 2025, they had a meeting with General Shibiri with, I think, Witness A and Witness C. He recommended to them that they get a threat and risk assessment. He told them that this case is connected to Mswazi. He told them that. Then the question becomes, how did you know? How were you privy to the information? As soon as you had Katiso Molefe, how did you know that Katiso Molefe is connected to Mswazi? That's a question that I think may have to be asked. He told them that it was a dangerous case. He told them that it was linked to some people who also were working in the Hawks in Toms, the people who then came and in the helicopter and were trying to, surveil the property when the raid at the Katiso Molefe house happened on the 6th of December 2024. Remember, the GCI ops went there and they found Mtembu there. They found, Mtetwa. Mtetwa was there. Katiso Molefe was there. Malcolm X was there. Chakalaka version, he was there. The same Malcolm X was found at the Mugabe boys' home, Bellarmine, and he seems to be somebody who is, I think, an interesting character. We haven't heard much more about him, but Shibiri told Witness B on the 16th of May, 2025, that this case was linked to Hawks Toms, it was linked to Mswazi, right? So I think he may have to discuss some things in relation to that. He also told them about the 3 envelopes, the envelopes discussion. Remember when he said that there are 3 envelopes, one for investigating officers, one for the magistrate, one for the prosecutor, suggested that there were millions of rands which were involved or which were going to be put into these envelopes. And then Witness B was like, hey, why are you telling us all of this stuff? What's this got to do with us? Why are you telling us about envelopes? And then I think he sensed that these guys were not so interested in that type of an offer and that they were not going to find any joy there. So he has to explain something about the envelopes. How did he know about the envelopes? How did he know the amount of money that was in the envelopes? How did you know about all of these characters that he seemed to have information about? Then he also has to explain about the meeting that happened at General Sibiya's game reserve, mansion, property, whatever it is, plot, whatever you think it is. There was a meeting, remember, on the 17th of September, 2024. Sibiya says, well, my son was getting married, engaged, whatever the case is. I invited a few people, but not my friends, but these people, they came through. That's where Ket was told to make a turn. You remember? And then Surgeon Faninkosi was messaging Shibiri, telling them that Ket has arrived or something to that effect. So he will have to explain his relationship with General Sibiya, his relationship with Vusi Matlala, his relationship with Sergeant Fani Maninkosi. He'll have to explain all of those things and also explain the dynamics of that meeting on the 17th. Then they also have messages between him and Musa Kaula. And those messages, I think, will then be pertinent in discussing how the arrest of Musa Kaula happened. Was it a wrongful arrest? Why was he messaging Musa Kaula about Vusi Matlala, saying Vusi is one of the good guys? Vusi Matlala, Wetsamanyala, one of the good guys. General Shibiri, what are you talking about, fam? What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? General Shibiri, how can you message Musa Kaula? How can you message, Chomi? The National Chomi. How can you message the National Chomi saying Vusi Matlala is one of the good guys and then get him arrested later for things that are associated with, who was it, Zen Ngumalo and also Fikile Mbalula? There's something here that he will have to explain. General Sibiya tried to explain, but the explanations were not adding up. If I'm quite honest, he will have to explain that, and they have those messages on the phone. They may even have some more messages on the phone than those. Then you've got the issue of Paul O'Sullivan. Paul O'Sullivan, he has to go back to Parliament. They're looking for him in Parliament. They say they want him on Thursday, I think. I think it's this Thursday or the next Thursday. I can't remember which Thursday. I think it's this Thursday. Now, I think that's a good thing. I think it's a good thing for Paul O'Sullivan to go back to Parliament because he didn't leave the right way. Whether he had one question left or 50 questions left, he didn't leave the right way. Parliament is an institution of the state. There are three arms of power in a state. You've got the legislature, you've got the judiciary, then you've got the executive. The lawmaking body is important for accountability. It's important for oversight. It's important for the lawmaking process. You can't just go there as if you're going to Woolworths. You can't just go there as if you're going to, Chicky Tiger or whatever. You have to go there with the adequate respect for the institution that you are going to. I said last week, and I still maintain, I don't think that he would have done that in British Parliament. I don't think he would have done that in the US Congress. He definitely moved in a disrespectful way. And you know what? Because of all of these discussions about London and the UK, he actually created an impression, and I think relied on the impression that he was flying internationally. Because if everyone had known it was a local flight, local flights, if you pay for that, I don't know how much it is, but you can reschedule those flights quite often, and there's a fee that you pay. And when he was making it seem like, no, I will have to bear the cost of rescheduling my flight, in my head, I'm thinking this is a flight to the UK that he has to reschedule. Those are quite onerous costs. And if I was the chairperson, I would have said, no, we will reschedule those flights for you. No worries. We will take that cost. But it seems like he didn't even have an international flight. He had a local flight, a Cape Town to Johannesburg flight, because the next day he was on ENCA trying to explain and justify his actions. For me, I was like, you didn't even go international. You were just around. Local flight. No. So that whole thing of, no, I've got to go. I've got a flight. I've got a flight. That then seems like he was creating an artificial time constraints so that the ad hoc committee would rush through things that they wanted to ask him because they felt the pressure of this time constraint. He wouldn't have been able to go to the Madlanga Commission and say, I have to leave here by 1. They would have told him, no, Baba, you leave when you're done. We called you here, you'll leave when you're done. Now, part of how he avoided some of the legal weight of what he was doing is that he started moving when the summons discussion started, right? Because he was showing Parliament hostility, insulting them, all of those things. Those are things that he was doing. When they started to discuss the summons, which carries a lot more legal weight, then he said, no, I'll come through. He didn't want the summons. Because what the summons does, it then makes it a criminal offense, clear-cut criminal offense for you to walk out. He still may have committed an offense by walking out in the manner that he did because he wasn't released. He released himself. He said, look, guys, we said 1, let me go. Now, in the context of what the ad hoc committee is dealing with, allegations of the infiltration of police by cartels, by nefarious actors, malicious actors, whatever. These are serious matters. People have died. Multiple people have died as a result of the infiltration that has happened here. Drugs are flowing in the streets. Nyaupe is destroying communities. Cocaine, heroin, all of these drugs are destroying communities. These are not trivial matters. If there's an institution that is looking into these matters, and in whatever capacity you've been called to assist them with that investigation, 1, you don't go there and denigrate the people doing the investigation. You don't go there and insult. You don't go there and dictate. You don't go there and act like you are the manager of Parliament and that everybody better recognize who you are. There were elements of that behavior in the conduct of Mr. Paul O'Sullivan. And that is the bottom line. So I think it's a good thing that they reset all of that and actually have a proper presentation from him of what he knows, doesn't know, what he thinks is important for them to consider. It's very important. You have to discharge your role. They have to send a message, because what is a risk is that if Paul O'Sullivan can go there and do as he pleases, other people who are powerful, well-connected, wealthy, popular in media will then think, that's all I have to do also when I go to Parliament. I'll disrespect them, I'll insult them, etc. I think he may still have some important questions to answer. The evidence leader towards the end seemed to be asking some very probing questions, which I think Mr. Paul O'Sullivan still has to answer. We still have to understand how it came to be that he got the National Commissioner's number, felt like he can message the National Commissioner in the way that he did, how he came to be involved in the vetting processes of National Commissioners. There's still multiple things that he has to respond to that I don't think that he has responded to thus far. And they may still have 3 or 4 questions that they need to put to him to get on the record, which I think are important. So I think that's also part of the saving grace. I think give him a day, so that all of the issues that need to be ventilated can still be ventilated. Then I think he may have to also explain a new issue. He may have to explain to the members of parliament how he actually came to be in possession of the financial information of one of the members of that committee. Because as he was walking out, he told Honorable Skosana that, he has to pay the bank. Then the next day, we heard that the bank had delivered papers via summons to Skosana. So how did Mr. Paul O'Sullivan know prior to the summons being delivered that Skosana was going to get those documents from the bank? Did an employee of the bank leak that information? If you're a forensic investigator, are you entitled by any piece of legislation to get that type of information? I think that there are legitimate questions that have to be asked about just that question. How did he get into possession of that? Then, if he has possession of information which is hostile or which could be used for pressuring, intimidation of members of parliament who are investigating him, does he have more on those same members of parliament? Because he came in there saying members of parliament are criminals, etc., of the committee. Not only did he insult them, he made serious allegations about them and then refused to go further. Then the question then becomes, are you saying that because there's something that you have found out, or are you saying that as a tactic to intimidate them? What is the basis upon which you are saying that? Then we have to ask ourselves the ethical question. If a witness is going to a committee and is trying to find dirt on the people asking him questions so that he can have leverage against them, is that ethical? Is that correct? Is it appropriate behavior? Is it the behavior of somebody who is trying to assist that committee or somebody who's trying to prevent that committee from getting to the bottom of issues? Because if he said that to Skosana in that moment, how much else does he have? And was all of it legally acquired? I'm worried because, Mr. O'Sullivan seems to have been in possession of top secret documents, the same documents Fadel Adams seems to have had. It looks like he had access to. He has commented quite often on Biz News when he was a regular there. He doesn't go there anymore. And now he goes to ENCA. I don't know whether ENCA is now the only platform that's willing to give him space or whether he's got a relationship with somebody at ENCA. I don't know what's going on. But he may have to explain how he came to be in possession of all of these documents, because nobody just gets top secret documents. I don't think he has clearance. I don't think he has the vetting. How would he vet a national commissioner? Wouldn't you need to access top secret vetting information to vet a national commissioner? I just have concerns, and I think it's good that he's going back, because maybe they'll ask him all of these questions. I think the members of parliament also have to be more strategic in how they ask Paul O'Sullivan questions, because sometimes it gets repetitive. I think they have to collaborate. And if there's somebody who runs out of time, ask the same question in the next session so that there's continuity, because sometimes that last question does matter. And then Paul O'Sullivan gets away with not answering because the time ran out. I think the chairperson has to be more forceful in making Paul O'Sullivan respect the time, because 15 minutes is not a lot of time if you're asking questions. And if the person who's answering keeps rambling and trying to tell side stories and trying to do all of that, that definitely chows into the time quite significantly. So let's hope that they have their ducks in a row, make sure that they use that last day that Paul O'Sullivan has to come back. I think it's going to be important. Shibiri, are you ready to go to the Madlanga Commission? Hey, soon and very soon, we are going to see the horse. Don't get horse rona now. Don't get this horse rona virus that's spreading around. Please make sure that you wear a mask, you wash your hands, that you get the horse vid vaccine before Wednesday. We don't want any problems. Shibiri, Suleiman Karim, all of you guys, we want you at the Madlanga Commission. Why all of a sudden people don't want to set the record straight? Come clean. Yeah, you know, Sibia had a tough time, but that's Sibia's past and destiny is not your destiny. When you'll be fine. Don't worry. Rungayisabi commission. What's the commission? Guys, let's meet in the comment section. I'll catch you there. Hosholoza.